Great. I think we are live. Hello, everyone. Great to have you all here connected. I have the pleasure to welcome Elena this time. Elena, I think that I will let you introduce yourself in detail, but I think the most important thing is that right now you're really deep into vibe coding, building stuff, building applications yourself, and then now also building the applications that others can vibe code and really go into the mobile world. I think that's really we're really living an exciting time with all those new technology going as blazing really fast in terms of growth, in terms of potential. So it's going to be a great session. Really quite some, I can't say hands-on because we only have half an hour, but we'll try to go as close as that. I've been asked, and that's probably the first time because usually we're trying to be low key, but I've been asked to also talk a bit more about dualoop for a couple of seconds, but I'll try to make it very short. So just as a bit of a wrap up, and we're a consulting firm. We're based in Belgium. We operate throughout Europe, and we have actually 4 lines of services. The first one is probably the one that we are the most known for, is what we call Shape, where we organization, design, and redesign. So working and hands to hands with companies from different sizes, from startups, scale-ups, and also large corporate, where we help them to rethink how they deliver value towards their audience, toward the customer, and then building solution and product teams behind that to support that value creation. Second pillar is what you call Build, where we do discovery track for customers. So we doing hands-on discovery, and doing that side by side, training, upskilling some people on the topics, or sometimes just doing that just for them. Then we have Empower, where we are doing coaching and training. I'll just talk a bit more about training just after. And then we've naturally Staff, where it's staff augmentation. So we really boost some product organization with a highly skilled profile that can stay in the team to compensate for an absence, or to just help to build up and strengthen their product management muscles. So as I promised, just a small heads up on the product management training side. We don't have yet any virtual session that probably come in the near future, or the, let's say, last quarter of the year. But for now, we have on-premise training in Brussels that will happen on the 18th and 19th of May. We actually still have a few spots left, so if you want to get access to that and join us, please reach out to the team. I think that Camille will soon post a link in the comments to actually register for that training. If you have any questions, please reach out to the team. We'll be happy to answer to that. And probably that's something quite new, very fresh and recent, but with quite some proud about it. We decided to go a bit full on the AI side of things, and we'll build our own application. And naturally, we built a coaching app for product managers, and beyond that. So this is a tool that was first built for internal use. So really to help to have a support or sparring partner for our consultant where they are on assignment, but also helping us to work on transformation tracks. And we decided, actually, given the feedback that we have, the power of the tool, to actually make it available for everyone. So that's already live. If you go to dualoop.coach, you can actually already sign up on that. I really invite you to go and test this tool. Is really, and don't worry, it's not just a wrap up on an LLM. There is a full orchestration with dedicated database, and there is also that's been fed by all our internal material on a lot of topics. So it's quite powerful, work well. Of course, it's still a bit clumsy for some part, because we wanted to push it in production as fast as possible to collect feedback. I've seen some people recognize the dog fooding mindset here, but voilà, it's there, it's live, it's usable, and we'll love to get your feedback. And as a bit of the cherry on the cake, for the people here attending this webinar, if you want to sign up and get access to the Pro license, you can just drop an email to Beatrice, so beatrice.balan@dualoop.com, and she will give you a 1 month Pro free license. So now it's enough about advertisement on all the different things about dualoop, and I'll let Elena take the spot. So Elena, floor is yours. Looking forward to hear your talk, and we catch up just after you talk for some Q&A.
Yeah, absolutely, Timoté. Thank you so much for the great introduction, and I'm excited to speak with you guys. I'm now sitting in Amsterdam, and it's very shiny and fantastic weather today. I'm going to share my presentation that I prepared for you, and we will kick it off. Yes, let's go. So I call our workshop the age of vibe coding because I believe that we entered these magical times then that non-technical people finally with AI assistant development can build the things. And what is the most incredible for me personally that I'm an entrepreneur by heart, and this like the last year for me was just mind-blowing. I substituted totally my Netflix time into my vibe coding time, and I vibe code in so many different tools. And for today I wanted to really a deep dive with you guys for the next 30 minutes into what it is vibe coding, for whom it is, how you can start. Because usually some people they want to start with something, but they have no idea where to start and what tool to use, and how this tool is different from that tool. What is the most interesting for me? And I will be touching different tools, different workflows, different use cases, and give you as many examples as possible so every one of you can actually take something from this webinar, and after this webinar really start building. And I will be also giving for the last 10 minutes of the workshop a live build session, which will be on the tool that I built myself, which is called Modaal, which is helping non-technical people to build mobile apps for scale and for revenue. And I will be giving you an explanation how it is different to build mobile app, and should you build or you shouldn't, and actually how to select the best vibe coding tool for your needs. So let's begin. Vibe coding is a new term, and what I noticed, every person is actually defining vibe coding differently. So for some of the people, it's a playground. For some of the people, it's like a magic enabler. So for me, I understood that vibe coding is a skill which we all need to learn, because the future is that everybody will code. This is something that, as Timoté said, augmentation of a product, tech, and design. Yeah, so I believe that vibe coding is basically the thing which connects this product, tech, and design teams all together in AI-driven execution loops. So, vibe coding works the best in the next use cases. I believe that most of the value from vibe coding right now being extracted by non-developers, because developers, they even before vibe coding, they can still code and they can still produce the results as a product, but non-developers, they usually had this roadblock, and vibe coding unlocked such an incredible possibilities for non-developers. And the typical use cases that I observed during build-a-thons and workshops we've done in the last year, and it was more than 25 and more than 1,000 people and 1,000 different ideas I observed. So people build usually in three buckets. The one bucket is like something for their work. A second bucket is something for their hobby or home. And the last bucket is something for a side hustle, like extra revenue or like, I don't know, entrepreneurial idea. So internal dashboards, it's very typical one. Productivity apps, this is maybe the most leading for personal use of a side hustle projects to build. Marketing and landing pages, very easy. On many vibe coding tools, you can reach really like in one day, build the whole marketing website. Also, it's an era of micro SaaS businesses. So basically, the previously we cannot afford ourselves to build very niche SaaS projects or very niche mobile apps because it was expensive and you cannot monetize this. But right now, because the building part is so easy, people are entering these like micro use cases and micro SaaS angles, which is amazing. Speaking about the prototyping modes, in vibecoding in general, there are 3 prototyping modes. I highlighted spec-driven as the green one because most of us are product managers, and for product managers it's very natural to start building any product starting with specification. You start with the document, you describe everything, you plan, and then you build. This is very logical. This is how we start. Designers, they have design-driven approach. They usually start in Figma. They picture everything. They see how it, like they visualize, and then they build. And analytics, or people with more like a data-driven approach, they start with like huge database of like spreadsheets of files, and this is their starting point. But most people start from spec-driven, and I think this is the easiest way for you guys to start if you are thinking to start. And the vibe coding loop itself consists of, you usually start from planning, and planning part I will be maybe putting a lot of attention to this part, because I believe that planning part is essential kind of foundation to what you build, and you need to spend a lot of time in planning. And because vibe coding actually lowered the bar, and we can really fast deliver prototypes and even finished products, we need to spend, I believe, this like saved time into plan mode, because planning helps us to build much better product and avoid redoing in the middle of the product, which is very painful. So you start from plan, you go to prompt, you test how it works, you fix something, and you repeat from plan, prompt, test, repeat. So very simple and clear loop. So right now we are going into examples. I will be giving 3 examples based on my Vibe Jam podcast that I record with different people who vibe code. And I think these 3 examples I selected because they are very different. The first one is a performance review analyzer. It's an internal tool which is built by VP of People in Meus, which is a hospitality platform in the Netherlands. And it's very technical and it's very interesting. I will be giving details in the next slide. The second one is LinkedIn application tracker built by as a side hustle by product manager from booking.com with the goal to earn some extra cash. And the third one is a more experimentation product built by a designer. It's a mobile application, a daily calm and reflection app, sending you one great idea per day. They are very different because the goal for every application was very different. For the first one, performance review analyzer, the problem that person experienced at work, her name is Deborah Gallo. She is a VP of Talent and Development at Meus. So she basically experienced the problem that from workday, she had a huge files with different performance review, and she wanted to help her teammates to analyze them better for calibration meetings. So she took these files and she decided, okay, can I build an analytics or like visualization of this data with modern vibe coding tools? And what she did, she basically uploaded the data into Lovable and started prompting, asking Lovable to process the data, to create a certain charts. So basically, she was prompting in a way how she wanted to see the outcomes of this analysis. And she spent a couple of weeks in Lovable, and right now in the video I'm showing like what she reached in the couple of weeks for performance review analysis, for basically helping her people managers in her team to analyze the data. She started actually the whole idea, she brainstormed with ChatGPT and Claude. That was her starting point. And I think this is a very interesting starting point because this is the typical for most of the people. You start to brainstorm and to understand what you built in chat or Claude. But once you polished your thinking and you know what to build, you go to a vibe coding tool. In her case, she went to Lovable to build first prototype, but then she understood that she wants to own it, how she said it. So, and she went again to Claude and asked Claude, okay, what should I do if I want to own it and build and do not pay anything? And Claude guided her to put everything in GitHub and then to VS Code. And now she is in the Claude code. And I really like this journey because she is very non-technical. She started with a very simple tool. And then by doing and by exploring, she basically moved from a very simple tool like Lovable to a kind of complex tool, which is Claude Code. And she's there right now, but the end of the story, which is like a couple of days ago, she messaged me. So finally, the development team inside Muse, they are ready to implement what she built. So basically, in her case, the building part in Lovable and all this experimentation brought her buy-in internally to enable this in the company, on the company level. And basically, this is how you internally can really build your way to buy in the management team, because there is a saying like the picture worth 1,000 of words. And this is exactly like this. So if you build a prototype, it's like much better buy-in compared to if you have a document with a description how magically it all will work. So the second example is, just a second. Yes, it's a LinkedIn application tracker. So the product manager from Booking.com, side hustle, the problem that he wanted to solve with his project is basically you apply to different jobs through LinkedIn. You prepare your CV for different jobs in different way. For different company, you really kind of fine-tune per company. And then you send, you don't remember what kind of version of your CV and what kind of, I don't know, cover letter you sent to what company. And you also don't remember with what companies you need to follow up and what stage with what company you are. So basically, he wanted to build something which will be helping people to track their LinkedIn applications to the job and understand how they progress. And what is interesting also, he started in ChatGPT the same. He built a Lovable prototype. Then he also started working with N8N, which is automation workflow. And now, because he started earning with this application 1,000 something 200 per month for subscription, he really wants to hire a developer to help him to finalize the product and make it more secure, more advanced, with more features, and like just move faster. But I think this is a great example of side hustle, because some of us are entrepreneurial, some of us are having ideas, and this is the way how you materialize them. This third example is an example from a designer. His name is Felix. He is a Berlin-based product designer, right now head of designers Get Safe startup. He, as a designer, he just wanted to understand, can he build a native iOS app in Swift? And he thought about, okay, let's start simple. Let's build something very simple, like 3-4 screens app. And he built an app called Still. This app basically giving you one wise phrase per day, and then you kind of check the phrases of the day in this beautiful layout. What is interesting here, he also started from ChatGPT and Claude Code, and then with Claude Code, he basically built screen by screen with Xcode and iOS simulator. And I think this is a perfect setup if you build a native mobile app for a couple of screens, because it's not a complex, and Claude Code can do this perfectly well. What is interesting, he's a designer, but he never opened Figma for this project. So basically all the design you see, he prompted directly from Claude Code. And as a designer, I can tell you they prompt differently than product managers. They really know how to add really interesting phrases, so the agent will understand how to make a beautiful design. So this is a skill I don't have. For mobile application design, personally, I use Stitch, which is a Google product, which helps you to build relatively good design as a non-designer. Yeah, so this app for him was mostly an experiment just to confirm this, yes, I can build and it's not that difficult. Yeah, so this is 3 examples, and in all the examples, as you see, if you build something for profit or something that will be used by many people, at a certain point you need a programmer. This is like unavoidable. And some of the vibe coding tools, they can promise you this marketing message like you can build without developer, shoot a one prompt and get the result. It's just a marketing messages, so don't treat them seriously. In any vibe coding tool, even if you are relatively technical, you still need a developer. Even if you don't have any roadblocks, sometimes it's really good to have a person who is like professional engineer and can look at your app and say, yeah, there is a, I don't know, security issue, or there is something different. So you really need to have somebody who will be vetting that what you've done you can charge money for, or many people can use inside your company. And my personal workflow. Right now, I'd like to share with you how I personally use Lovable and my own tool Modaal to build native mobile apps in Modaal or web applications in Lovable. So Lovable, I will start with Lovable. This is the first tool I started with a year ago. Yeah, a year ago. And I think this is the tool for beginners level of vibe coding. But again, as I said, I put a lot of effort and accent to a planning mode, because if we don't know where we go, we will be nowhere. And planning mode is critical. And in I think in the planning mode, you need to really, before you start building something, your goal usually in vibe coding tool to build an MVP, basically the minimum viable product or prototype. And for this, you really need to narrow down everything that you build. What I observed, people easily start to build, but I don't know, only fraction of people who start building really release the product. And it's because of different reasons for sure. The intent is important, but also overthinking and over planning is also critical. So then you start vibe coding, you really need to be very sharp on what you build and what is your MVP. What is good enough to be released on App Store? What is good enough to be published in Lovable? And I usually think about this like MVP triangle, when you have audience, pain, and action. And I'll give you an example. So, for example, you have a big idea. I want to build a platform for parents to help kids to learn math. This is extremely broad. You will never release such a project. You really need to narrow down like the audience, the parents of kids age 6 to 9 struggling with timetables, for example. And then you define the pain, and then you create what kind of action. Yeah, you create an app. And by doing this, you basically narrow down everything, and your MVP is really realistic to release in like a couple of weeks or maybe months, depending how much you put effort there. Here's my example. My first project in Lovable built a year ago. I wanted to build a Quizlet for kids. So basically, kids from 6 to 9, they need to learn new words in a very visual way. So something that Quizlet is not giving is mostly for kids starting from 12 or 13. And here, everything was basically based on the visual part. You have a picture, you have a word in your native language, in a foreign language, or in your native language, plus a descriptive description of this thing. As you see, I put like the first version, Vizvo, that was AI generated, is kind of ugly. And my typical workflow, how I work with the product, I start vibe coding. I vibe code till it is functioning but ugly, and I call this stage build ugly prototype. So basically you work only with AI design, AI generated design, but your goal as a product manager is to build something which works as you imagined it. And then I usually partner with a designer who is adding a layer of design on top of functionality I built already. And then we definitely validate with several beta users. And at the end, I check with developer always, just to be sure that everything is fine. So that's my typical workflow with Lovable. And right now I wanted to show you something, and we have around 10 minutes left, which is fantastic timing. I think I can show you how to vibe code in Lovable a little bit, and then also what is the difference in vibe coding in Modaal, the tool that I built myself. So let me stop sharing my presentation and I'll start sharing my screen. So I'll probably share the entire screen. That would be easier. Okay, so Lovable. Okay, that's Lovable. So Lovable, extremely simple tool. After the registration, you see this environment with the prompting, and you have basically this is your starting point. As I said, I advise to start with the plan mode, and plan mode in Lovable is really built in a fantastic way. Same we built also in Modaal. The goal of the plan mode is really to guide you what exactly you'd like to build. And for example, let me also take one of the projects just to share with you and show you how it works. Yeah, so this is the project that I showed to you in the screen for kids. So basically that was my first project that I built in Lovable. So as you see, Lovable communication. So you prompt something very simple here. For this project, did I touch something? Okay. Sometimes you even ask like what I've done before, just remind me something, and then you see the outcome. But maybe let's try something. Maybe something is like would like to change. I don't know. Okay, for Lovable, let's not spend that much time. I don't think that the interface is so difficult for you. I will be giving just a quick intro on the typical things that I use in Lovable. I like visual edits. Visual edits helps you to basically edit everything that you see on the screen. Once it is enabled, for example, then you can really change texts and colors on the screen you see. So for example, if I like to change this learning zone into learning zone, I don't know, new, it will be changed immediately. And it's very simple to edit text, so you don't need to prompt. You really kind of edit what you like Visivik editor just on the screen. Yes, okay, let's stop it. Yes, okay, visual edit's fine. And then also you have a very useful thing which is called cloud. So basically Lovable, why it is a very easy tool, because they have for you enabled a lot of different technical stuff just inside the Lovable. So you don't need, for example, to add a database or connect with different secrets and storage. Like you don't need to be that technical. You just need to enable cloud, and then it will be really easy for you to attach everything that you need. Then also you have security check. They recently added integration. So basically, if you want to understand, is it any security issue in your website, you can check it here. You also have a very basic analytics for the website, and you can observe how it works. You can also add the different analytics by yourself. And I think that's all. And the plan mode and the build mode is basically works as described. Some people use voice mode to really record what they'd like to build, but this is not me. I'm usually not using this one. Yeah, and now I'm going to change the screen and share with you Modaal, the tool I built myself. I think the most difficult for me, in building this tool is not that it's not building it, but basically understanding because I like building myself and iOS applications. And this is what I was doing, I don't know, for 15 years, building different native projects. And right now I need to build a tool, but at the same time, I really want to build my own apps inside my tool. So it works in the same way as Lovable, but I would say, the selection of vibe coding tool, it really depends on your goals. So if your goal is really to build a very simple iOS native app like Felix did from Berlin, and it's only 3-4 screens, you don't need my product. You can do it easily in Claude Code, and it's like really easy. You will spend maybe, I don't know, 10 hours to build it up. If you like to build a mobile application for profit and earn money from it, then you need to have an environment which will help you to make it happen. And these applications, usually they are 10 plus screens, so they are not that simple. And mobile application in general is very different from web, because web is more like a 2D, and mobile is like a 3D shape. So the complexity is like many times more, because you have different hidden features, like you have push notifications, you have some haptics, you have connections between devices. So it's just like the complexity of building mobile app is more like, this is much more complex, I would say. And in Modaal, what we've done differently compared to Claude Code, it's very opinionated tool. It's built by my technical co-founder who worked in Meta and Uber, and he basically brought to the tool all the experience of senior engineer and architecture of the tools and framework which is used in Uber, Grab, and Airbnb in like really complex, big environments. And if you are coming to build for scale, this is the proper environment for you. So I will be giving an example of the tool I built myself, which is called WikiMemory. The idea of the tool is to help you to memorize, to save your memories exactly as you remember it. Because what is interesting, our memory works in a way that it's like a Wikipedia. So once we have a memory, and like sometime when we trying to remember memory and we speak with another people who also been with us during this memory, and it's like Wikipedia, people are adding their understanding of that memory, and your memory got twisted and you also forget things. And I was thinking about, okay, I really want to have something, I don't know, place where I will be storing my memories of my child growing, my, I don't know, disappointment or my happy moments or some memorable stuff in one place. But I also like to share these memories with people I love, but also to keep some memories private. And I wanted to build this app, and I started building. I already spent around, 25, 30 hours of building this. It's not that easy, but it's very easy to start. You usually start with a simple prompt, and maybe if we will have time, I will be showing you how to start. But you start with a simple prompt in a plan mode, and plan mode is helping you to just understand what you should build, and then guide you through the build phase. So I started with Claude Code and ChatGPT just to understand what I like to build, what is the competitors in the market, is it interesting idea in general. So I kind of brainstormed with Claude to understand, is it a good direction in general. Then Claude gave me a very simple PRD. I put PRD in plan mode here, and plan mode in Modaal, helping to kind of polish PRD from Claude from the perspective of mobile architecture and features you'd like to develop. So basically, it took my PRD from Claude Code and divided them into MVP features, and also removed something which is not in MVP, which is complex to make it happen. And once it finished this, we started developing feature by feature. And how it looks right now, let me show you on the simulator. So basically, I specifically asked for this very interesting design, which is called the brutalism, black and white. And as you see, I'm testing it here. So basically, I have different memories. Some memory is super private. If I want to access it, I need to put a special code. Then I can add the memory here. And the main action is like adding voice memory. Actually, this one, let's maybe just to see how you can prompt. So emotion and intensity, this is something I wanted to remove from the adding card. So let's prompt it here. Okay, please remove emotional intensity from add new memory card. And we are selecting execute mode. So right now it will be executing. So yeah, it's some mistakes, but this is like the agent's very tolerant to misspellings. So right now it is removing this block emotional intensity, and it should be removed. Meanwhile, yeah, I also have shared memories. Shared memories is something that I shared with friends I added. And in my profile, I can add specifically friends with whom I can share the memories. And some memories I can share with one person, but not with another person. And some memories I'm keeping just for myself. Yeah. So right now, as you see, agent is working. It is writing everything down, what it's going to remove. And at certain point, it will restart the screen just to relaunch and check how it works. So in mobile specifically, I think the best way to develop everything really kind of feature by feature, not jumping from one kind of feature to another feature, finishing one part and then going to another part. Otherwise it will be very messy. Also, I think in mobile development, you really need to understand how to build products. So web is more tolerant if you are not familiar. It's just because it's just more simpler. But in mobile, you really need to understand like all the connection between one screen and another screen, one action causing another action. And so right now in my example, I really stuck with one feature and I spent, 15 hours for this already. It's invitation when one friend is inviting another friend to join, because it was quite a big scope for the agent. And initially, once it is building, I can show you. So basically, I started like, okay, we have I'd like to invite and friend connection like flow, and help me to build a plan. And basically, the agent built for me a plan with different steps and different complexity levels. And you see something already done, and it is built for me. So right now, I think it is finishing, and it will be showing us that it's finished. And when it is, so basically, for complex flows, I usually work in a plan mode. We have a plan with different steps. Some steps, as you see, done, and usually agent is guiding you. It is telling you, okay, I'd like to implement step 9, for example, as the first one, or step 5, because it's fundamental, and then we go to step 1, 2, or 3. So done. The emotional intensity section has been removed. Let me check. So it should be removed. Not really. Okay, let me check. Not really. Check again. Sometimes it happens, it's not really made, so you need to double check all the time. Yes, so for complex features, yes, you have a plan, and then you work basically step by step implementing it. And every time then it implementing one step by asking, okay, can you check and test by yourself how it is implemented? And the agent, what is great, they can really read your screen. They can understand, or it can understand what mistakes are made and then correct them. So that's, I think, let's maybe wait the last one till they will fix something that they done incorrectly. And after that, I will switch to a last slides of our presentation about what is next for you guys, like how you can start. I built a slide for you with like your 14 days plan, where you can really, how you can really start with vibe coding. So, okay. Already good. Okay. Still not fixed, but by prompting, you can fix it. Okay, let me switch to the last one for the sake of time. Yes. Yeah. So as you see in my screen, it's a confirmation. Vibe coding is fun, but vibe debugging is kind of boring. But this is the where you spend a lot of time. You asking agent to check, double check, test what you'd like to build. But I guess this is similar to how you work with the people also. And this is the slide I prepared for you. I think after the call, I think dualoop can also share with you this plan. I think everyone, if you are not in ChatGPT or Claude, you can really start there, then go to Lovable as a very simple tool to start, or any other substitute. Then N8N, fantastic tool to explore. If it is very difficult for you, start with Make. Make is much simpler and for non-technical people. Claude Code, for me, I think this is must try, and you should not be avoiding this tool, because ultimately we as the product managers all will be in the Claude Code next year or maybe this year. And then if you would like to go deeper in going to mobile, you can go to Modaal. If you like to go deeper in another direction and build something different, you can also go deeper with another vibe coding tools. And yeah, at the end of, you can think, okay, where to move next in the next after this 14 days. And I think I'm ended my presentation, and I think this is the last GIF I wanted to show you guys. It's basically very magical to see how all works. It feels like a magic, and sometimes I feel like a very excited small baby, observing observing a very complex system working for me. Yeah, Timothy, I think I'm done. Okay, I'm back to the screen.
Awesome. And I'm back as well. Thanks a lot, Elena, for this great tour on what we can do. I think we launched a bit of a poll during the conversation to see a bit where people were in their vibe coding journey. I think most of people that replied say that they were actually considering it but haven't started yet. So I think your plan is interesting, but I'd like to dig a bit deeper with you on that, because
Mhm.
I think what you highlighted with a couple of examples that you've showcased at the beginning is quite striking. Um, I think the best way to get started is really start small and try to solve problems that you are living on a daily basis. So most likely you're using tools on a daily basis and you're frustrated because of a missing features, obviously because something is not working as you would expect, and these are the kind of things that you can try solve. um, it's an interesting way of starting, but it's also a complex one in the sense that you may not have all the accesses, or try to understand how you can fetch an API or collecting the data in one another. So naturally, there is a bit of a journey, even starting from a simple applications. But maybe I'll give you a very concrete example that created the aha moment for some people in our team. For those who know don't know, we there is a device called Plode. I'm not doing advertisement for them particularly, but so Plode is a device that helps you to record um, discussions, and it transcribe automatically, and there is quite some automation behind. The thing is that they have a nice UI where you would see all the records. But if you want to export the transcriptions or the summaries in making, you must do it one by one. Uh,
Mhm.
but in a large transformation, we are recording. We have 5 people working in the transformation, and we are recording probably uh, 10 meeting each per day minimum. So it's like 50 of them. It's kind of heavy if you have to go one by one. So we got a bit frustrated. And then I say to the team, great, create a browser plugin just to do to automate that. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure how we can do that. And just use an LLM and
Mhm.
just load code to actually build up. And actually, in 5 minutes, they had created a working plugin for that, and they could export the notes. Uh,
Incredible. Like
just
5 minutes. Yeah.
just 5 minutes. Just say, hey, this is the web page. I want you to go, and I want to be able to export all that at once. And then basically what the system did is scan the code. It just look and fetch the API, fetch the authentication token, build the code, back and forth. First time was not working, you iterate, done.
Yeah, totally. Like, sometimes maybe we have this like past time thinking, that it will take a lot of time, but when you start, it's just usually it's really simple to the like very simple result. If you'd like to build a complex system, for sure, you need time and tend. But if it's something like plugin or something as a quick fix, it's relatively simple in my personal, and I totally relate to what you said. You need to start simple. I think my very first prototype in Lovable was basically my son is struggling to understand, to memorize timetables, and I was like, we tried to learn with cards, we tried to learn with like papers. And I was like, okay, can I build in Lovable? I don't know. And I basically, my prompt was like, build something like Duolingo, but to learn timetables in Dutch language for my 8 years old child who is struggling to remember, and add a lot of fun, and he likes dinosaurs. So something like this. And it was quite impressive. I also, as you said, like, it's basically like 5-7 minutes you have the result. It's not perfect. There are some difficulties, but still, you already can try it.
Yeah, definitely. And probably then there is a question on the tool stack and where get start what you can get started.
Hmm.
Uh, and I like what you're saying that ultimately everyone will end up with using Cloud Code. Probably
Yeah,
is the best tool on the market right now. It's changing a lot. It's changing fast. So probably this conversation will be outdated in a month from now, and maybe
exactly.
it will be because we know that OpenAI is pushing a lot with Codex, and maybe it will be the next best one. But for now, probably everyone will fall back on that. But to get started, getting started when you have no clue about how an
Hmm.
application works and the technical layer behind that, it may make sense to start with an application with a provider like Lovable, or that just pre-chew the work for you. But
Yeah,
indeed, if you be serious and you want to build your independence, because there's quite some stickiness on those tools, ultimately you will
yeah,
end up building your own pipeline. But again, I think it's important for everyone to understand that all the answers are online. First, there's a lot of people documenting, showing how to build application.
absolutely.
And then you can even use an LLM just to ask how to get started and what is the best tech stack. And then
Exactly. Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
that complex. And I just want to go back also to one thing that you were saying, that do you need a developer?
Yeah.
Uh, it's I have a
What's
mixed feeling about that, because it's going
okay?
so fast, it's improving so fast that I don't know if you still need the one
Yeah,
in
I do have an answer. In general, you don't need a developer if you know how to prompt like a developer. This is like what I know from my technical co-founder. So basically, I was like, Ivan, tell me if I like really can do everything without developer. And he said, yes, Lena, you can definitely release 100% any complexity of app right now without a developer, seriously. But you need to know how to prompt like a developer. And I was watching how he prompts differently. He writes the prompt in a way that he received the best outcome, and also he is avoiding traps that I am usually in, not knowing how basically the structure and architecture of app looks like. And also the same for designer, then I'm trying to understand, okay, how I can improve design. My prompts are very stupid compared to my designer prompts. And
Mm.
then I observed, then she is prompting, she's really knowing how to put the proper adjectives, and proper phrases to receive a proper outcomes. And this is like, if we will be able to learn, or maybe LLM will progress in a way that they will like remove this like layer, of like prompting techniques, then for sure I believe in the future. And this is, I really like how you touched it in the beginning, then you presented dual loop concept regarding augmentation of product tech and design. Like, I already observing this in my team. We are like like everyone is engineer, but some of like better designer engineer, some of like better like project visionary engineer, and the product and basically engineer architecture engineer. So but we are all prompting, everything is very augmented. And you also touched this Claude code. This is very interesting question. So what I heard a lot, and this is a difficult question to answer: what is the best tool to start? Is it the Lovable or immediately Claude code? Because if we are ending up in Claude code, should we even spend the time in Lovable, make it sticky for myself, have a heritage there, and then more difficulty moving to Claude code? So my guess is like it's the personal choice, because for me would be comfortable to start in a Claude code immediately because I'm relatively technical. But some of the people I observed, it's difficult. It's just really difficult to really work in this kind of strange setup. Yeah, like very technical. So yeah, but yeah, it's a personal choice. But Claude code is unavoidable, and I'm like, if you are a little bit technical, or you are tolerant to like the kind of this command line view, I would advise to actually go directly to Claude code and remove these like first steps. But if you feel no, it's too much, then you can surely start with like simpler tools.
Yeah. And I see that we have a question from Nadine, which is an interesting one. How is data collection managed in the backend without the use of a database? Do you want to answer that?
I don't really understand. So data backend without use of database.
I think it boils down to what you were referring when you are using
Ah,
Lovable. What they say, hey, don't worry about all those elements Lovable when you use the cloud version. They configure an environment for you.
yeah.
Uh, I think, Nadine, it depends on, and probably you can further elaborate in the chat. But when you talk about data collection, it depends on the type of data that you are referring to. If it's just about text or user input, a Postgres or an SQL, from Postgres SQL database, so it's basically a table with text, would be enough. When you want to build more complex infrastructure, when you need to have clear storage of files and others, indeed, you will have to build a different application architecture. And that's as many as any application, you will have to think about the architecture, what you are aiming for, and how you want to structure the data that you're collecting.
Yeah, but usually if you build something simple, like and you're starting with Lovable, turning on the cloud, it will figure out everything for you usually.
Yes, indeed. And you see that that will be along your journey. I think build something simple, move forward, and gradually you will also develop your technical knowledge. Because I think we must be honest in the sense that building an application remains something that is complex in a way. It's getting much simpler, that's for sure. And I think you can accomplish a lot. You can actually vibe code complex application without understanding anything you're doing, at some extent. But it's at some point you still have to understand what you're building and how you're structuring that if you want to be serious, because otherwise you will expose yourself to a lot of threat. And I think the biggest one that you touch on, Elena, is the security one. uh, as soon as you build an application, you're responsible. There is something called GDPR and Data Privacy Act uh, that will be on your shoulder, and you'll be responsible of the data that you're collecting and the risk that you're taking. And as soon as those are having users using an application, there will be private data that might be exposed. So the security part is a very important one that you'll have to consider from the start, and quite often is neglected.
Yeah, yeah, totally right. Yeah, and I think this is the big difference in web applications, like in tools like Lovable really can build fast and then release and then do not be compliant with GDPR because they do nothing specifically to make you compliant. You need to build it yourself. But if you upload to App Store, so basically App Store review takes a couple of days, but they really kind of check everything. So, and this is why with applications, then you submit to Google Play Store, App Store, they are kind of checking this for you, and you are more sure that everything is fine. But with web, oh my god, yeah, that's a good point, Timothy. Yeah,
Yeah. And that's where when you start using those all those device, all those technology, you'll probably hear a lot talking about agents and how you approach that. What I recommend and what I'm doing is I've built an agent that I call the red team. So that is technically being trained on all the usual vulnerabilities, and particularly about all the vibe coded related breach, because LLM most of the time do the same mistakes or ignore the same element, and having a check on a daily basis on your code to check the vulnerabilities and looking backwards is probably the best way for you to be a bit safer. But again, it's not a security it's not 100% safety, and that's likely where you will still need some proper and serious development team behind to ensure that what you're doing is actually secure. Because, and I think, Elena, it's what you mentioned as well. Do not forget that an LLM is a probabilistic process.
yeah,
So you cannot control. It's not if because it's really opposed to deterministic. Deterministic, you do something, you know what will be the return. With the
mhm,
probabilistic model, there is a chance that actually they'll do something different. And even if an LLM will tell you that they have done something, the likelihood that they have done what we call a shadow development uh, is still present. So you always take the risk, even if you put all the guardrails, even if you put all the rules in place, you have always the chance that something has been changed without you noticing. And even if you do note it, they may just ignore it.
totally, absolutely.
Right. So it's been a lot of progress over the past year. I mean, I remember still a year ago, I always say the same thing to my team. A year ago, I was trying to build a simple cooking app. And as soon as I starting adding users and starting having a bit of complexity with an LM behind, it was completely crashing, collapsing. Um, Now you can really build extremely robust applications just by yourself. So there is a gigantic progress, and most likely in a year from now, it will be a complete different world.
Yeah,
But you still need to understand what you're doing.
absolutely. That's the point.
Yeah. I we talk a lot. I realize that it's just noon, so we're really reaching the end of the session. I know, Elena, that you're expecting another webinar. So I really want to thank you for all the for your time and for sharing with us the way you approach things. I think it was really interesting and refreshing to see actually others are doing and also having examples. I invite all the others to continue the conversation, both with Nadine or with us. When you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer. It's a journey. We are on that journey, and we'll love to share our experience as well. So thanks a lot, Elena. Thanks, everyone. And looking
Absolutely.
forward to the next chat.
Bye bye. Thank you for inviting. Bye.